Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League. We're back in Jeddah for round number 2 of Tier 2, the second tier of the Equal Performance League here in IRL. It's going to be an interesting one. We had Tier 1 yesterday. It proved to be quite an interesting race. And with Tier 2, generally speaking, being a closer tier, it should produce some fantastic racing. My name is JBH, and joining me in the commentary box, as he is for the season, is ARL. Good evening, ARL. How are you?
Hello, good evening, everyone, and what a race, Saudi up here, so somewhat of a temple of speed for the Middle East in parts, so no, very excited. But how are you doing? All good?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Obviously, voice is just about recovered after yesterday to go for another 25 laps. And it's 25 laps of absolute pure precision round here. You cannot put a step wrong around Saudi Arabia.
No, absolutely not. It's you're bound to scrape the wall a few instances, but if you're not on the edge, you are losing a chunk of that time around here. So the drivers are going to have to be locked in for all 25 laps to come here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. But have a quick look at the standings after the first round, and it is the Wolf who leads the championship, but he is not here tonight. He's unable to make the race, which is a big shame. But he leads the championship on 17 points, with Julian Amanu, who did message me. I haven't yet gone back to him, but saying we can just call him Joel, but I quite like his name, so I think I'm going to stick with Julian Amanu. I think it rolls off the tongue very nicely, but he's on 14. Hulkenberger has 12. Barrett 10. Jack, who's not here tonight, has 8. J Ray Bay 7. Matty 6. Iron 5. Clips on 4. Madman 3. Liner Grisby 2. And Sir Spud rounding out the point scorers so far this season. And in the constructors, it is the Mercedes of Julian Amanu and Iron on 19. They are tied with the Alpine team of Hulkenberger and J Ray Bay. Obviously, Julian Amanu with the better position, putting Mercedes ahead. Aston Martin just a point behind on 18 with the Wolf and Sir Spud. Sauber have 10. Williams on 8, and again, they're a driver down this week. Only Matty Rudd here, not Jack. McLaren have 6. Racing Bulls have 4. Haas have 3. Ferrari 2. And Red Bull non-scoring in that first round, all the way back in Mexico. But door wide open for a brand new championship leader.
Yeah, no, 100%. And always when you start the season off, drivers might take it a little bit easy, understand where everyone is at with the pace. But now we've obviously cleared that entry into the season. It's a bit of elbows out, and especially on a track like this, 3 DRS points of the lap. So it really is going to be a challenge on staying ahead, defending, attacking through different parts of the race. But we've got 25 laps of it, so hopefully some thrilling actions up ahead.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you drove it yesterday. What is the most important things about getting this circuit right? Because as you say, 3 DRS zones is important to stay in that DRS range. But other than that sort of aspect to it, what is the most important thing for this Grand Prix?
I mean, of course, like any other Grand Prix, you need to think about the end distance. You need to think about the long run here. You don't want to be burning your ERS because it's so easy to get tempted into burning a little bit of ERS just to stay ahead or try and make the overtake, because of course those 3 DRS detection points, they're crucial, and if you're just within it, it'll really hurt the driver ahead to try and pull out that gap. But you also need to think about, the first sector with all those snaking corners. You need to keep that rear right particularly clean, because it is the tyre that does take the punishing around here as you slide, and especially on that higher fuel load. More pressure and all this will accumulate over the lap. So you just need to think about the long run in the Grand Prix and keeping it clean, I would say.
Yeah, obviously clean being the ultimate word around here, and I think the other thing is trying to stay out of trouble, as hard as that is. Obviously, when other people have their instance, trying to sort of foresee where you need to put that car, because it's so easy to have a 3-4 car pile-up round here, that just getting through those moments will ultimately benefit your race greatly in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's corners such as, turn 22 and 3, that fast chicane that goes under the hotel. If a car goes off, loses the rear just simply by himself, it can cause havoc, and we have seen it in the past before. So it's just about, finding the right spot on the track, keeping it in a good bubble. If you've got drivers ahead battling, thinking of, should we get involved, should we not? Let's play back a bit, because you never know what's going to happen. But by one driver going off, it can ruin your race dramatically.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to head into qualifying. 18 minutes of qualifying to come. It looks pretty dry to me. Who's going to be the first person out? I mean, you got beaten out by Owen yesterday, so you got some work to do on your ready button.
I was going to say, it's definitely not me tonight. Yeah, no, honestly, I always love to be first on track because, it just gives you a clean run ahead. But then, obviously, as you come up to the beginning of your lap, some people come out. So, but it does feel nice to have a good starting position. But yeah, no, we'll see who comes out, who can take this first. But it seems like we have all drivers still in the pit. So clearly, obviously, having a look, maybe weather could play a factor in this. Of course, in Saudi, it's very likely to be a dry race, as we do see the kick salver of O'Stevens. So he's the first man out onto the track for round 2 here at Saudi.
Yeah, so the Sauber, first man to the circuit. Let's see what he can achieve. Still playing around with some audio settings at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's going to be quite an interesting one how this qualifying goes, because it's somewhat of a different dynamic to Mexico. So, the drivers here, they need to come into qualifying with a pure confidence in the car, trusting that car will bite every corner you make and hold on the rear, especially that sector 1. But if you don't have the confidence, if you don't feel you've got the car underneath you, it'll significantly hamper your lap time around the track like this. So no, it's going to be intriguing to see who's got the bravery to send it as close as they can to the wall, but a little bit too close can completely ruin it. So yeah, but early stages of qualifying, so hopefully the drivers will keep it clean and get those banker laps in nice and early.
Absolutely. Good evening, Sydney. We are well, thank you very much. Hopefully you are as well, as you strap in for Tier 2. And would you like to take us on a lap on board with those, Stephen?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Coming into the final corner here, not on a lap. You want to somewhat sacrifice the entry and prioritise the exit here, but I think he's coming into pit. No, he's not. He was realised with flashing. I thought he was recharging. But now we begin the lap here. Coming down into one of the heavy braking points, turn 1 and 2. The first of the chicanes, the slower chicanes, I should say. Try and take as much of that curb and cut as much of the track here. Get a good exit. You really want to prioritise traction on that corner now. Another the chicane. Go as close as you can to the wall, and he does that just right to cut as much of the track now. Now you snake through this sector of the track here. Watch for that outside curb here through here. You don't want to ride that car over, otherwise they'll send you off. But front just a little bit hesitant there, and the rear sliding a bit as he gets on the curb. But he'll learn as he goes through the lap, as it does have a teammate of Berra. Berra is on the outlap behind, so no DRS or slipstream games between the two of them, but gets that rear nicely planted through there. Now again another chicane coming up. They're all fast chicanes here, so you really need to make sure the entry is well done here. Ride out as much as you can of the corner, but don't go too wide, otherwise you're into the wall. Here the DRS detection point opens up, and you've got to really try and cut as much as you can of the lap here. Maybe not as much in the other stages, but now go as close as you can to the wall. Don't take too much of the curb on the outside, otherwise I'll unsettle it. And he takes it nice and safely with a good margin. And now coming up to what is the final corner. Obviously, a lot of little corners here. They're classed as corners here, Jordan, but they are pretty much straights. As now into the final corner. Tries to get a good entrance, good exit, and keeps it nice and clean. But I have noticed he has not used much of his ERS, if not any, on that lap. But he does set the fastest lap, which is a 33.3.
Yeah, immediately beaten by Iron on a 29.7. No ERS used from O'Stevens, just almost like a banker lap for him, just seeing what sort of grip he's got. Good evening, Spud. Hope you are well. You're doing well here. I'm guessing your weather crew came up with wet for the qualifying session because it's bone dry. And Sydney saying this time yesterday he was in the wall. But he's doing pretty good, which is good to hear. Who have we got on track? DXT Matty coming to the line for his first attempt, a 30.0. I can't remember. I think it was a 26. I want to say 26.9 from Merckx last night was the pole position time.
Yeah, no, definitely around those times here. But you know, we are in the earlier stages of the qualifying. The track will somewhat ramp up from the game. I would like to say good team effort from the Kicksauer crew, because that's put Berra on a good lap, because he was right behind O'Stephen, so he did get a dose of slipstream now as he comes through the final sector of the lap. But we need to see a more representative time from O'Stephen and from the likes of Coke, who seem to have more of a banker lap in, as we see Berra coming into the final corner now here. Gets the rotation nice and clean. Get on throttle as much as you can without lighting the wrist too much. But you can get away with it here in the earlier stages of qualifying. Use the battery, all he's got, and he takes it to provisional pole on the 28.6. So that's a good lap time from him, over 4 tenths, nearly 4 tenths from Hulkenberger. But who else is on the lap? Let's see.
You've got Matty Rudd at the moment going through the final sector. First time we get to see Matty Rudd this season. We know he can have a bit of pace, but he tends to have an issue with track limits early on in the race. So if he can solve that problem, he'll have some good results this season. Obviously paired up with Jack. Obviously last season was paired up with Ruddo24, his brother. And he puts himself in 4th place, 29.6, which, yes, is a second off of Berra, but, I mean, for all we know, Berra might not go much quicker than that, and everyone else has the opportunity to improve.
Yeah, no, 100%. But, you know, do keep an eye on these times to drop somewhat, as the next man seeming to come across the line is J. Ray Bay in the final corner now, through the final corner. A little bit of front locking on the inside tyre, but shouldn't do too much here. Yet again, deploy the ERS, everything you've got to the line, somewhat cut a bit of the pit lane, and he does cross the line to take P3 for 29.1. This is a good strong start from the Alpine duo in P2 and P3, as Ray Bay takes an interesting line through the first corner, but don't think he's going to mind that. But 2 Alpines in the top 3, that's a strong start for them.
Yeah, good for them in terms of the championship. I think they, if I remember correctly, I said they were sort of joint first but second because of Julian Amanu's second place last time out, so they're really in contention here to take over the lead of the constructors. Lionel Griesby puts himself into 9th with a more representative 31.1. DXT Matty, he's on I think he's on a whole lap at the moment as he comes through sector 2.
He is
8 tenths up as well.
8 tenths, there you go, yeah. So he's finding time in that McLaren through the final sector, but there's still so much. As much as it doesn't seem it, there's still one corner to go. You can lose or gain an insane amount of lap time through that corner on your entry and exit, but he is struggling on that battery there down the straight, trying to recharge as the rear complains a bit there on Matty. Let's see what he comes up with, how much quicker, because he might have lost a little bit of time on that oversteer moment. But he comes across the line only 2 tenths quicker, so clearly losing a heap of time through that final corner. The rear end not being able to stick with Matty.
That was his second run on that set of tyres, so not too bad that from Matty for a second run. Obviously testing the waters of maybe is the second run a little bit quicker on a set of tyres? Yes it is, not by a lot, but I think if you're going to go for that second run, that final corner, you have to have a much later apex to square it up to allow the tyres to grip.
Yeah, no, 100%, and as well, that's the end of the second run in particular, so this is the point where the tyres are going to be screaming most. You do have a bit of a straight to somewhat cool it down, but you know, the tyres don't expect full performance from that, as Darrell is the next person on the lap. Coming into sector 3 now, a little bit of rear sliding, but not too much, so it shouldn't be a problem as he comes through the long straight. A lot of VRS to play with still for Darrell, so this is a track where you need to think about where to use your ERS effectively. Obviously in the race is one thing, as he tightens up quite much to the final corner and now burns the ERS, but should come up to the line with enough to cross, and he will put that car into P8 with a 29.8. But as I was saying, Jordan, it's an important track to see where you use your ERS, because some points of the lap using it doesn't really give as much effect whereas saving it for other parts of the track will help you much more.
Yeah, and it's one of those tracks where you can use it you can use a lot of it very quickly, and as we've seen multiple people running out of deployment at the end of the lap just as they're coming up to the start-finish straight. So you have to be, as you say, wise with it as to where you use it, but also how much you use it in each place. Do you use it a little bit everywhere, just gain a little bit in every single sector, or do you sort of pick your sectors that you really want to hammer in and get the time back, and really use the battery?
Yeah, no, if you're wondering on the yellow flags as well, sorry to stop the conversation there, but Coke just having a little off spin, front wing damaged out of turn 2, but luckily no further damage than that. But yeah, no, it also depends on how the car is set up. If you're running much more downforce, you know you're going to get a much better exit, but struggle on the straight. So maybe you might prioritize the end of that straight to reach those higher top speeds. Whereas if you're someone with a lower setup, you know you're going to have a poorer exit compared to a high downforce. So maybe you want that burst of energy to try and catch back up that lost time.
Hulkenberger goes quicker, but not quite quick enough at 28.799. He's closed in on Barrett, but isn't quite there yet. Iron's moved up to 4th. Julian Amanu has invalidated his latest attempt. Ira is, I think, the next person to come through on a lap. As that's a Sauber on an outlap, and I think Coke's going to be coming back in a bit with that front wing damage.
Only driver not to set a lap time still, Mikey in the pits. We haven't seen him somewhat come out for an outlap yet, I don't believe. But interesting from Sir Spud, the only driver optioning for the mediums, and he's in P10, which is not necessarily a bad lap time. He's not too far off the soft runner, so you know, when he sticks a set of softs on, that could be an interesting driver to watch. As we have a yellow flag, and that's Juliana Manu off the track. Where does that come under?
That's turn 4. That's turn 4, which is where we had the incident yesterday in the race with Kent and a Red Bull, a Race Tech Pool. So I wonder if he's just clipped the inside wall, because it's very easy to do down at turn 4, because you're coming down there, you're hitting the brake, coming down a gear, maybe 2, and then just launching the car through the corner to carry as much speed as you can. So I wonder if he's just misjudged that and caught the wall, or he's spun on the outside curb, because I know the outside curb is not friendly to most F1 cars.
No, absolutely, and as well, if you're running that floor as low as you can, it really can just unsettle. As I think the next driver who's on the lap at the moment, Stephen, 1.8 up.
You got Berra 2/10 to the good as he comes out of the final corner, looking to extend his lead in pole position. Is he going to extend it? Yes, he is, by 0.3 of a second, at 28.3, to try and secure this pole position. His first one of the season. Jay Raybay coming up to the line. Does he go any quicker? I don't think he does. And
have a look at Stephen though.
3 seconds, puts himself 10th.
Thought he gained a lot more through that lap, Stephen. Not sure what happened, maybe a little slide or something. But now is the stage where you see all the drivers in the pit lane, so you know, optioning now for the lowest minimum fuel possible and having the new set of softs to use. The tyre allocation should allow it, the 3 softs in qualifying, whilst sparing a new soft in the race if a safety car comes out in the lateral stages. But I was going to say, this is a strong result from the double Alpine and the double Mercedes. Now, Julian Manu's off will somewhat affect him a bit because he does not have that option to put in a final lap time. But they're both up there, the Mercs and the Alpine, so they clearly wants to fight for this Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, it's good to see. And just looking at the comments at the moment, Sydney saying seeing them all use hot lap is painful. And apparently a mix of medium and overtake is better. Spud saying he's not making the same mistake he did in the last race, which I'm going to guess means he's going to be coming back out of the pits and trying not to crash on his way back in. And Julian Amanu saying he did just turn in too early into turn 4 and took the front left corner off his Mercedes. So news from the iPad Kravitz in the pit lane. But we've got drivers now onto the lap. So we've got Ira, who's just started a lap. And I think we're going to have... I think Coke may well be on one as well, just started.
I believe Coke, yes, Coke has. This is the problem now. So many drivers all out on the track, so impossible to keep an eye on everyone, but we'll try and do our best as Coke coming through into the S section here. Nicely does it. Front bites well, goes a little bit off the track there, and he'll unsettle it. And that unfortunately means his lap time is pretty much going to be in the bin.
But it's not been invalidated according to my track map. So
oh yeah, no, it hasn't.
He's gone away. He's a big slide through 13 though. Well held.
Yeah, well held, but I think it would have been a bit scary on board. I wouldn't like to see what's going on underneath that helmet, but he looks like he is still pushing, Coke. Is this to try and get back to the pits and use softs on? Not sure, but he's not giving up on this lap.
Well, if it's not invalidated, might as well keep on pushing as he comes down to Schumacher's at turn 22. Gets through there nicely. Remember, Coke's time very unrepresentative, that 156.3. This is going to be his last chance saloon to put this time in. I'll say that he might be able to actually, if he's fueled up, if he's got enough fuel in there, he might be able to do a cool down and a go again, if required. As he had a bit of a wiggle out of 27, down to the line he comes. What's it going to be for the Red Bull? Cutting as much as he can at 28.5, saving the best till last, second on the grid so far.
Where did that come from? It looked like a mighty car to try and control there through a few of the corners, but saving it best to last. But if he's got some fuel left in, do not count him out, because he lost time, I think, on that lap, definitely through those power slides. So if he can hook it up, he's one to look at. But who else is on the lap, Jordan? I think we're getting
Matty Rudd puts
yes,
himself
P4.
fourth.
29.0, so that's a good lap time there.
Darrell will be starting another lap because he's invalidated his latest attempt. Trista's on a out lap. Liner Greasby is on a hot lap, and he may well get a little bit of DRS assistance from Mikey, his teammate, who's decided to come out of the garage for the first time. No, Mikey's going to let him go around, so no real team games going on at Ferrari. Although,
I think...
and Darrell's retired in the pits, so obviously didn't have enough fuel to do another lap. Liner Greasby, 13th quickest, a 30.8. Let's see if he'll give his teammate a little bit of slipstream during the lap. I think Iron's start, coming around to start. Coke's invalidated, but we know he might be going on another run. I think it's going to be Sir Spud next.
Yeah, no, Sir Spud coming through the final corner here. Use everything he's got. He might get a little bit of a tow from the Red Bull in front of him, and he'll try and get the battery screaming out loud, and he does bring it to P6, so a 29.1. So that's a good lap from him. Who else is on the lap? I believe that's the Red Bull or Coke starting one, if I'm not mistaken. It is, yes, Coke on the lap now. So, whoa, the rear complaining there and loses it there on the rear, and that lap will surely this time not be able to get anything better, and he moves out of the way to not invalidate anyone else's lap. But who else? Hulkenberger now on his final run here. Can he bring it onto the front row at least for the Alpine team? Nicely done through there, a little bit of rear sliding, but that's absolutely alright. Well held through here. Coming past the first detection point now, just a little bit down, just over 500ths down on his run, but he's still got time to make up for it, as there's a yellow flag. I think that's just a driver getting out of the way. There's a Aston in front. Oh, the rear sliding there through the entry, but Hulkenberger needs to find as much time as he can, as Ira is the first one to take the checkered flag. So is Matty Rudd. What is the time at the sector point? And he's down a little bit again, still exactly the same he was in sector 1. So has he got anything left for the final corner? We'll see now from Hulkenberger, but he's going to have to bring it all or nothing through this last bit, as he's got a V-carb in front of him, and oh, he's having to back off there and lose time. That's not going to help, and that seems to be Hulkenberger's lap completely gone. I think if he can manage to get a faster lap, can he? Oh, just
go a little bit
gets
quicker, yeah.
A little bit quicker, yeah, but that's not going to be a great talk between the two drivers there.
Jay Ray making it an Alpine 3-4. I want to talk about Sir Spud here. 6th place, a 29.1. That's a great time from Spud. I think we got Stephen on the way. He's 4 tenths up.
So Stephen
Bearer is slightly up on his time at 0.06, but I think he may well get through. I'm going to quickly just see if I can get Madman in.
Bearer goes quickest, updates that fastest lap, 28.1. Oh, Stephen crosses the line, can't improve, but Bearer really taking it even further, and that should be it for qualifying.
It should be. And Bearer take pole position. I would say I think Mikey could be a little bit in trouble with the stewards there. I think he lost his front wing on his flying lap. I think he caused a little bit of trouble for iRun in the Mercedes in that last corner. Very big hold up, but we'll see what happens with that one. But Aaron, would you like to take us through the grid order?
Yeah, no, 100%. So, front row, Bearer with Coke. Followed behind the double Alpines of Hulkenberger and J. Ray Bay. Following that, Matty Rudd in the Williams with the Aston of Sir Spud in P6. iRun and Juliana Manu in the Merc, follow up behind 7 and 8, followed by Matty and iRun the McLaren with Darrell, O. Stephen in line of Greasby for P13, followed by Tris Games, Mikey in P15 as well, the double Irishman at the back. But yeah, no, quite a lot of the teammates, you see the teams still quite close to their teammates, which is nice to see. So they're all trying to stay in this hunt and work together probably in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, I think team games around here is very important. Obviously, making sure you stay in that DRS, keeping the train together. If you're not at the front of it, at least anyway. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how everyone plays this one, and obviously when the safety car inevitably comes out here, because let's face it, it's probably a near 100% chance we're going to find ourselves with a safety car. It's going to be interesting to see how then that works out with all the teammates being very close together, because you're going to get people being held up in the pits. So it's whether then the teammates then decide to split their strategies at that point to try and not have that happen. But I think if we have that early safety car like we saw yesterday, it's going to turn this into a two-stop and very, very quick, very, very quickly underway. Not a lot of time to get your strategies in, so someone's obviously raised up a little bit on the early side.
Yeah, no, yeah, it depends really when that safety car comes out, because like you say, inevitably it is a pretty much 100% slam dunk safety car, or at worst, or well, at best, depending from which side you're coming from, a VSC. But yeah, no, the thing is, the mediums here, you want to go around 12 laps on them if you want to have the best shot, or a little bit less if you want to run more of that on the hard. Then the remaining, obviously, on that hard tyre, 13 laps, 14 if you want to push it. So it really depends. You need to be in the right time, right place for whatever strategy you want to be on, because sometimes if it's just a bit too early for that one stopper but it's a bit too late for the two, it really puts you in a tough position to decide which is the best strategy to go on.
Well, unfortunately, because that quicker ready up, everyone's on the medium tyre, we don't have any form of variation. And it's a bit of a shame, because obviously it is written in the rules that you have to wait until the lobby host gives the go-ahead to ready up and move into the race. And it used to be that us commentators could see who was ready and who wasn't. We can't anymore, so we have no idea who it was. It takes a very quick-witted person to find out who actually done the ready up.
Yeah, so no, who are you going to be placing your bets on? That's the question. We don't know anyone who's readied up, so yeah, no, a bit of a shame that they're all on the mediums. I figure maybe a bit of time, surely they would have had a look at the strategies, but at least we know everyone is on the same tyre to the pit stops if we get no safety car. So
unfortunately,
yeah,
Madman a little bit too late into the session, which is a bit of a shame. He was hoping to join just at the end of qualifying to get into the race, but just a little bit too late. Just looking at the comments before we go racing, Big C saying all sorts of impeding going on. Obviously, good lap from J-Ray. Simon Rudd, obviously Ruddy 24, has told Matty, his brother, to not get any track limits, so he's expecting his first penalty by lap number 5. And Sydney saying he wouldn't be the only one. So Iron, unfortunately, not quite getting the parking right, but we are going ahead to the grid. Everyone's just about lining up now as Mikey gets into his grid slot at the back in 15th, his own row. But we are about to go racing for Tier 2. Ira getting his parking wrong as well. But here we go then. We have the grid. We are in the night time of Saudi Arabia, and we're going to have the 5 red lights. And we are racing on the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Who's going to have the best go? It looks like Bear's got away very, very well. Coke doing all sorts of wheel spins as we go through 3 wide. There's a spinner of an Alpine. That's J-Ray Bay going around for a spin. Luckily, no damage, I don't think. Looks like Ira was having a bit of contact as well as he lost a bit of control coming out of turn 2. Down towards turn 4. Looks like we're going to behave ourselves side by side between Ira and Daryl. Not really a place you want to be going side by side. Ira really wide though, could allow a chance for O'Stephen. O'Stephen looking to go around the outside through this S section, and a bit more contact as Ira now goes wide. Loses another place to Mikey. He's trying to find a safe place to get back on, which is good by him. Unfortunately, line grid, you have to go a little bit wide. Not really his fault though, as Ira returns to track as safely as he can possibly do. Very hard through that S section. I think Ira does actually concede position on that basis. But it's Bearer leading by 1 second from Hulkenberg. Coke got that all wrong at the start. But luckily he only lost 1 position. Matty Rudd in 4th, Sir Spud in 5th, Matty 6th. That's your top 6 so far, and it looks like we've all settled down already into this single file train.
Yeah, no, that was important for Barrett to get ahead, and he's somewhat cleared that DRS threat now from Hulkenberger. But Hulkenberger will not be like that because he does have the Red Bull of Coke right behind, and he is well within that second gap. So we're somewhat into this DRS train likely, but we do see now the McLaren looking to have a look on Sir Spud. But to go back to J-Ray Bay, who lost it on the first corner, it does seem to be that there was contact between him and Sir Spud, I think, from the front wing to the rear. But who else can make a move? The Coke trying to get a bit closer to Hulkenberger, but now DRS enabled, and here we go now. This is going to be the moment now, and Hulkenberger out of that DRS.
J-Ray does get past Tris Games now early on. I did wonder with J-Ray because he did look to go 3 wide into that first turn, which normally isn't really a great idea. I did wonder if maybe it was a sort of a consequence of that, but possibly some contact behind. As we continue on through lap 2 into the second sector, and everyone just holding station, sort of like steady gaps going on. People getting to sort of within 4 tenths, but not really close enough to really make a move. And with everyone on the same strategy right now, you kind of feel that sort of moves or keeping your tyres in good nick right now is the best possible motive to maybe not push so hard and give yourself a bit of a tyre delta near the end of the stint.
Yeah, no, 100%. You need to remember, just because this is a fast track does not mean, you know, the tyres are going to be, you know, within... The dirty air is still very powerful in this game, as Coke now goes ahead of Hulkenberger very early on there. So, maybe a little bit of unsettlement from the Alpine. But now that's going to leave Coke without DRS through this main straight. This is such a well talked upon place of action where do you wait, do you go early, but then you sacrifice that DRS, as now Hulkenberger has that rear wing flap open, but doesn't seem to be enough, as here comes Matty Rudd having a look on the inside. It's not going to be enough though, but Hulkenberger goes a little bit deep there, but he should still reclaim the position.
Yeah, it's one of those things, and it's sort of a rule that's been written as looks like Juliana Manu looks to the outside of turn 4 on Matty, just thinks better of it. Good idea. But obviously that can sometimes get someone to run a little bit wide. Daryl, Mikey losing positions. I think Mikey's had an accident somewhere. I think he's lost a front wing as he goes very slow through the S's. He's got to make sure he's not on line. I'm going to guess he's lost that front wing, but I can't see because my camera angle is on board with him no matter what camera I use. So not really ideal.
Yeah, front left end plate gone on the Ferrari.
Well,
he lost it out of 4.
Who's
that Coke?
Yeah, that's that turn 15-16, I think it was 16-17. I think he's just had a bit of a moment. It doesn't look like there's any damage to the car, but that Red Bull, that was not the move to be making into Schumacher's. Sir Spud is not going to be a happy man. And there's more contact. There's a Mercedes in the wall. Juliana Manu in the wall. Big damage to his front wing. It's all a little bit chaotic as Coke was trying to recover there from the little incident he had with Sir Spud. A bit more contact between Matty and Iron, but Matty staying behind. Coke just about in fourth. But yeah, that was a little bit of a silly move in my opinion from Coke. Just trying to make a late move into that turn 22 as Matty Rudd gets the move done for second place now. So
yeah, no,
positions always changing.
Oh, collision slightly between again Coke and Iron. As here comes the McLaren now. Matty's going to have a look. He should get this move done before as he locks up a bit, but just stays ahead of the Red Bull. But that Red Bull has that damage on the left-hand side of the end plate. But I think so does Sir Spud on that Aston. So they're coming into the dirty area. As you can see, both the Aston and the Red Bull having struggles here. But Coke has to take to the runoff. But will he keep the position through here? I think he will. But yeah, no, just to go back there, it did seem what Martin Brundle would famously say, a day late and a dollar short through there. But as you can see, that front wing damage on Coke is really hurting him there.
I'd say he was a little bit more than just a dollar short, I think, on that one for Coke. I just get a sense as he grunts into the wall, I just get a sense of Coke, he made that mistake through 16, 17, and he kind of just had that sort of, what we call red mist, almost. He wanted to try and make up the places back very, very quickly and just made that mistake. Probably, obviously not intentional, but obviously maybe just missing his braking point or something like that. But unfortunately it has happened, and we all know Suspect probably won't be too happy with it. Hulkenberger, though, is on the back of Matty Rudd. Barrett is now nearly 5 seconds clear. He can now start to coast and look after his tyres. Maybe make to look this a one-stop race for himself. But Hulkenberger, DRS open, down towards turn 1, moves to the inside. Slowly gets in there, and contact between him and Matty Rudd. They stay in position. I think Hulkenberg looking not to take advantage of that, as he knows he made contact during the overtake.
Here goes Darrell. Darrell through on line of Griesby as that was unfolding. Line of Griesby nearly loses it. Sir Spud gets the first penalty of the evening.
Mikey RK13 getting past Ira for 12th place now. So that's good news for Mikey. He's still running along. He's still running with that damage. I think Ira's got damage as well, and that thing's understeering like an absolute yacht at the moment. Not steering on that one.
Mikey going off, just taking the curve. Can he rejoin safely? Ooh, just a little bit close to the McLaren, but luckily he ghosted. Quite a few drivers having that damage on the left-hand side of their front wing. So clearly, it's a cleared corner. Stephen gets a little snap there. But Coke still somewhat trying to hang on to the back of Sir Spud.
Oh, this is interesting between Hulkenberg and Matty. Yeah, Hulkenberg looking at a move in turn 22. Nice and clean from the pair, but Hulkenberg going to get a run now. Down to the final corner, but he's going to overtake him early. And now Matty Rudd's going to have the advantage. As long as he can get the traction out of this final corner, Matty should have advantage down to turn 1.
Matty Rudd did seem to have some good straight line speed. You saw him recharging a lap before on this straight, and Hulkenberg was just a bit able to get alongside, so should hopefully see a move here, but actually a little bit further back here for Matty Rudd, so clearly not a good enough exit compared to the Alpine. As we see Coke still having a look now on DXT Matty, but nothing going on there.
Line of Griesby down inside of Darrell, the Ferrari getting into the top 9 with that move. J-Ray Bay looking to now move up a few more places. Mikey in the pit lane. Julian Amano fastest lap with the hard tyre at 132.1.
So I was going to say we see our first hard
and
runner.
Matty Rudd without DRS down into the banked turn 13 retakes second place.
There's amazing scraps going all over the track here. Obviously the main one going on for the fight for P2, but this has just allowed Barrett to cruise up ahead. But you never know, one safety car and it can completely bring you back into this. But Matty Rudd now will go without the DRS. Hulkenberg is going to think a bit smartly here, recharge that battery, and then we'll go later on the lap to try and get him.
You've got to be a little bit careful here as well, because if they keep fighting, they're going to allow Iron here, who is now in DRS attraction zone here. Not for this one though, but if he can somehow hold it, he may get DRS down the main straight, and I don't think he will because of the DRS of Hulkenberger. But yeah, Iron is slowly making his way into this fight, and I don't actually know whether Iron managed to get into that 1 second. But here comes Hulkenberger, Nice easy move with the DRS. And once again, another change of position for second, and 7.5 seconds the gap to the leader. Spud, no Stephen, in the pits.
Yep, so it's not only bringing iRun into this, but it's also bringing Matty with Coke. They are gaining slightly on the Alpine of Hulkenberg and Matty Rudd. iRun did not get that DRS. Oh, someone's off! That's the Williams of Matty Rudd!
And I think he's just lost it on his own. He's just lost the rear on his own, and that is amazingly not a DNF, but no front wing. That's going to be a pit stop and a lot of time loss. He's got to be so careful now through here to make sure he doesn't cause any more issues, and he doesn't, which is good to see. But the other problem now is that without that front wing, he's got to be careful not to sort of go off track too many times, because the game doesn't really care if you've got damage or not in terms of the track limits. And so Spud picks up another 3 seconds. So Spud, normally one of the cleanest drivers for time penalties in terms of track limits, getting all of them right now.
Yeah, Matthew has got a long way to go, as now Darrell gets a 3-second time penalty. I think it's that kerfuffle of cars, as we see now. Darrell gets ahead of Lionel Griesby, but they're still going side by side. Who's going to be ahead? Lionel Griesby just gets ahead through.
But now Darrell's going to have now Darrell's going to get the DRS
as well behind. Yeah, no, now they both have DRS, but J-Ray Bay more in the slipstream, but now the Ferrari gives the Haas the slipstream. It's a bit of a fight now. We could go 3 wide into the final corner. Oh, that was a sudden braking from the Ferrari, it looked like.
Yeah, I think A, that's very clever from Lionel Griesby, and B, very much legal in the fact that I think he did not want to go in the middle of the sandwich into that final corner, and he knew as long as he got it right, he gets DRS down here. It's not really helping him though, but Darrell, trying to go side by side with J-Ray Bay, gets it all wrong, and he's going to allow, don't go 3 wide down here, chaps. That's not what you want to do.
This is not one corner you want to do this. Oh, the Ferrari had a little look on Darrell, but luckily we've ended that through cleanly, as the race leader, sorry to mention, has pitted. So now he's onto the hards, and hopefully we'll try and go a little bit far. Oh, Darrell's gone off a bit. He has to take to the escape road. Please rejoin safely, chaps, and he does. So, Darrell losing 2 positions there. Yeah, no, I think the closest battle now is going on between Ira and Mikey. Maybe they were fairly close going into turn 1. But actually saying that now, Berra is really on the rear. Okay, within that 1 second, so shouldn't take too long for these hard runners the newly hard runners to get some temperature into those tyres.
Yeah, and Ruddo saying what a sausage to Matty for losing it and completely ruining his podium chance there. Although if there's a safety car, you never know what might happen. I mean, the impressive thing here with Berra, he went in the pits, he came back out in 4th. Oh, big slide from Coke though, and that's going to allow Berra an easy overtake, I think, down towards turn 1. And to be fair, I don't think Coke's going to be able to put up much of a fight, and he doesn't.
Yeah, no, Coke is obviously on those older tyres, damage on the front wing. He's not going to... It's not his fight as well, really. Of course, you never want to give the place up, but not really the man you're fighting with. Is who's that going a bit close? Is that Darrell? I think that's Darrell on the Mercedes of Jolyon and Manu, just getting a little bit close. Jolyon and Manu getting through, in fact, on those harder tyres. I was going to say, though, this seems a little bit early for the hards, does it not? I think this is still a long way to go, considering the mediums have only lasted around 7 laps.
I do wonder if a lot of people here, as we have Trist Games in the wall at turn 27. He's just gone straight on. And yeah, safety car is coming out at Jordan Grand Prix dot. And I'm allowed to say that because that's my name.
Wow.
Yeah, this is going to help Matty get back into this. It's also going to make this very interesting because now iRun is going to get a nice cheap pit stop, as is Coke. Coke, I think, still going to come out behind Hulkenberger, but maybe in front of Jolyon and Manu.
Berra is not really going to lose out on this. He's only 2 seconds behind iRun, so he's obviously not going to pit as well, so he will take back the lead. In fact, maybe he would like this, actually. He does not have to go through anybody else, so should be able to restart this. But for the likes of Jolyon and Manu, he's on 5-lap-old hards. Surely he's obviously making another stop here, so do you try and go on something else? But the mediums aren't going to last. But
mediums don't last. And the problem is that he doesn't. The mediums don't last, and he doesn't have another set of new mediums either. And to do sort of what's this going to be, 15 laps? You kind of want two sets of new mediums, really.
Yeah, or a brand new set of hards. You know, with a few laps taken off the safety car, it could just get you to the end of the race. As we see the likes of Coke obviously changing that front wing during the stop end line.
Iron does come back out ahead of Julian Manu, so that's good news for the Mercedes.
Yeah, and of course, I think even if it was the other way around, I think if they're in a party chat or if they're not, I think it'd be sensible to know that Iron's got a much faster set of tyres and not really impede each other. But they're on for a good result, obviously, with that Alpine going off early in turn 1. P3, P4, if they can keep this to the end, and actually, as saying that, I didn't realise Hulkenberger's gone on a medium. That's a long way to go. This is a 2-stop, surely, for Hulkenberger.
Well, he has to be. He's not used the hard tyre.
No, yeah, you're right.
Everyone started on the mediums.
So he's committed immediately. So he's boxing again. The question is, can 2 sets of mediums and a hard, would we say, or maybe a soft? A soft would
I think he's got to go hard. I think he's going to basically try and push these mediums, get past Berra with the extra grip and try and pull away a little bit, and then come back in for the hard tyres to have, again, I mean, we talk about it a lot, but this game is evident in terms of the way the tyres work and the tyre wears. Tyre delta is a massive thing in this game. So, yeah, I think that's what Hulkenberger's thinking, is maybe if you can get past Berra, use the extra grip, build maybe just a little bit of a gap, and then come in, get some fresh tyres. He's thinking maybe I can close that gap back up with the tyre delta in grip.
Yeah, he could try that. The only danger with that, if he wants to get ahead of Berra, is we know Berra tonight has had some remarkable pace. He hasn't really been fought with so far because he's just checked out. The question is in Hulkenberg, he needs to get these laps on the board now to make this 2-stopper work. Maybe is the best bet to just hang on in the DRS of Berra and go as get the gap behind from Iron and DXT Matty, of course, as we see who's out in the pits. Julian Emmanuel actually pits now, so he's gone to a new hard. So actually that's sorted itself out for Julian Emmanuel.
Interesting that he went now rather than when the pack was more spread out, because I think he had plenty of gapped Iron to double stack in that team. And I think he would have had a better road position had he gone in. So an interesting tactic from Julian Emmanuel there, because he's now lost a lot of track position, and he's right in the thick of everything, where, as we know, things can go wrong.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The only logical explanation I could be thinking of that is, you know, when you want to come in, if your teammate's in the box, even though you've got a good enough of a gap, your team on the radio will say do not come in because obviously the other car's being serviced. But you obviously, if you've got, 7-ish, 8 seconds to your teammate, you should be alright. So maybe that's what Julian Emmanuel was hearing and therefore thinking he wouldn't be able to come in. That could be a possibility as well.
As we continue on round, we've got Ira at the backs trying to catch up. I think we're going to have the safety car in this lap potentially. Although if Ira's not quite caught up by the end of sector 2, I think we've had 2 laps of safety car right now, so we might get one more.
If I remember correct, last night's safety car, the notification popped up
very late,
fairly later than usual. Yeah, so it is possible. And the thing is, Ira's kind of in this zone to allow that to pop up very late here. I surely hope we get another lap, but actually the gap between Berra's increased quite a lot there, but the safety car light's still on?
Yeah, I've not had any notification yet to say that it's coming in.
No.
So.
Oh, here we go.
Oh my word, how late does Race Director?
This is terrible. This is realistic of the real FIA sometimes.
Michael Mass is back, ladies and gentlemen, and creating absolute mayhem. And Berra goes very early because he doesn't really have much of a choice, but he does catch a lot of people out. Hulkenberger 6 tenths, nearly 7 tenths to the bad of Berra's. Iron is trying to fend off DXT Matty. Runs a little bit deep. Matty he's looking to go around the outside. Isn't quite going to get that. Oh, we got contact between O'Stephen and Coke. Coke involved in another little shunt. O'Stephen went round. I think there's more carbon fibre from Coke and Sir Spud's front wings. Yes, there is. They're going to have not a great time as Julian Manu trying to go side by side with Daryl, pulls out of that move, and Daryl just cuts the corner a little bit, probably a little bit wary of just trying to make sure that he didn't run Julian Manu out of room or cause a collision. But Barrett has an absolutely fantastic start as Julian Manu does finally get past Daryl down towards turn 13. But yeah, Barrett perfectly executed restart after an incredibly late notification of the safety car coming in. A second to the good already, and Hulkenberger's plan, I think, of a two-stop is not going to work out at present. He's going to have to do something a bit magical and get those tyres fired up.
I think the ultimate goal for Hulkenberger is just to make sure he pulls a gap behind, realistically, because he's somewhat got 1.7, 1.8 now to the likes of Iron. But do keep an eye out. Currently, there goes Julian Manu, gets through JB quite early on, but now that puts Daryl on the back of the Alpine. Just not close enough, but I think there's a move with Coke and Mikey at the back. Yes, there is. Coke getting through, but again, damage on that Red Bull. But here we go, out of the final corner, DRS enabled, and we could see a potential move between Matty Rudd. Matty Rudd closing up quickly on that Ferrari. Is he going to go for it? He should have enough speed. He does have the medium tyres as well to his benefit, and he does get that move nicely, cleanly done into turn 1.
Yeah, Matty Rudd, I believe, going to have to stop again because he's got medium, so he'll be coming back in for another pit stop. Simon Rudd thinks everyone's going to have to stop again. I think he's probably correct on that basis. Although Sydney's saying Iron could look for a one-stop potentially.
Coke gets a 3-second time penalty. Yeah, the easy way to remember this is everyone did start on the medium, so whoever's on the mediums now likely haven't run the hard or the soft, obviously not the soft, so they'll have to stop again. But Hulkenberger is still around 1.4. Is that Mikey off in the final? Sorry, not the final corner. Yes, it is. Oh, Stephen and Ira. Oh, very close between the two there as well. Stephen just having to back out of that one there. But who else is on the fight? As we see side by side, Julian and Emmanuel in line of Greasby. They're going side by side. They make contact. They slide their way, but luckily they don't go round. And now that's put the Alpine of J-Ray and Daryl on the back of this fight. Oh, it's almost like a hand in the mouth moment as now Daryl comes through the final corner. Can he get the move done? The Alpine breaks a little bit late, but he should still keep it there. They're all sliding their way out the final corner, and now the DRS will be enabled. Who's got the best run here as now Julian Amanda gets through Matty Rudd nice and early. What about the Ferrari and J-Ray Bay? J-Ray Bay just has to back off through there. But Julian Amanda is making his way well into this field so far.
Yeah, obviously the freshest tyres of the grid other than Ira. J-Ray Bay couldn't get past Lionel Greasby because Lionel Greasby also had DRS on Julian Amanda, so that's helped him keep position. Matty Rudd, those 6-lap-old medium tyres, obviously he had a couple laps of forgiveness on them as Dow goes very wide. And I think it's going to allow Coke to get past. Yes, it does. But those mediums are still going to take it won't be long before they're going to be crying a little bit, and he's going to have to come in for the set of hard tyres. But further at the front, Hulkenberger slowly getting reeled in by Iron and Matty. Obviously those mediums to the hard tyre. And further back, obviously we've got this battle for 7th place. I mean, Julian Amanu already 1.4 in front of Matty Rudd. And right on the back is Sir Spud.
Yeah, no, Julian Amanu is if not the main man, if he wants to try this one stop, he's the man who's got the best chance to do so. And now he's going to tow round the outside nice and early on Sir Spud. Gets through in the head into the top 5, but now the roles will be reversed here. Sir Spud will get the DRS, but does he have
in
the
traction? Pits. Sorry to interrupt. Hulkenberger has come in the pits now, lap 15. And Julian Amanu, unsurprisingly, setting the fastest lap of the race. We've got a pit stop from Matty Rudd. So they're now going to the hards to the end of this race and looking to undercut many... Oh, collision between Coke and J-Ray Bay. Coke getting involved in all sorts tonight. Luckily, no damage to J-Ray Bay, and Coke runs a bit wide, nearly into the wall. Got to be careful here with that front wing. He's going to be understeering through it. He's got to be careful not to run wide and then have a dangerous rejoin. Look at the difference to a front wing to a broken front wing. And here comes J. Ray Bay looking to the inside. Is he going to get through? Looks like he will do on the inside. I don't think, yeah, Coke's actually lost part of the main plane now of his front wing, so that will definitely have no cornering grip whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. Coke's been in all sorts of incidents tonight. It's not been the best race for him, but I will say, hats off to that Red Bull crew, because they built that car like a tank. It's taken all sorts of beatings here tonight, but now soon we'll have the likes of Darryl in the DRS range right behind.
Yeah, unfortunately it also looks like the real life Red Bull in terms of how difficult that car is to drive at the moment. It definitely looks like Verstappen's had his hands on it, and Coke is the unfortunate second driver of that Red Bull. He can make it go quick, but it comes at a cost of drivability.
So we somewhat have a bit of a field separation now. Drivers just getting more into clean air. The closest battle though still between J-Ray and Coke. Coke still managing though, despite dirty air, still manages to get that car within a second. Whoever it may be, obviously in this case scenario, that's J-Ray of the Alpine as it goes a little bit off wire in the rear, screaming. It doesn't look like a happy car at all, but he is still managing to find ways to keep within that 1 second.
Yeah, I think this is where he's going to start to lose out those through this little S section, because you haven't got DRS now for quite a while. I think that's the difference. Is he got overtaken in turn 13, and he managed to just about, as he kicks up another 3 seconds. Hulkenberger gets past O'Steven in the S section, but obviously big tyre difference. Yeah, obviously Coke got overtaken here in turn 13, and the DRS for the next zone, the detection, isn't too far away, so it just allowed him to have that extra top end. Whereas now he's going to probably burn a bit of ERS, but it won't be enough. So now he's going to lose out, and we have Mikey off.
Oh, Mikey off.
And we got a safety car.
Hold up, did Mikey? I'm not sure if Mikey's car did travel quite a bit as that safety car was announced. I'm a little bit unsure of that. On my track read,
I have a feeling that I have a feeling he's had a massive moment, hit a wall, and that car has been travelling.
I think maybe out of turn 4 where it rides you out a bit, maybe. I think because that is where that car went off. And ladies and gentlemen, another safety car of the evening as Berra comes into the pits. Now this is the important thing, is surely the drivers will go to medium. Softs won't last this, but of course we'll have that one runner who will try and stay out, and that's Julian Manu. He will essentially inherit the lead of the race.
There's two people this does not help: Hulkenberger, Matty Rudd. They are the big losers here. Hulkenberger looks like he's going to have an okayish position by the time he comes out, but Matty Rudd, he is not going to gain too many spots here. Is he going to beat Lina Griesby out? I don't think he is, no. So Matty Rudd only up to 9th. He's got a bit of work to do here. The only difference is, those that have gone for mediums, the mediums won't be so nice near the end of the race, so Matty Rudd could be a little bit of a threat there.
I mean, we saw it with Hulkenberg. He pitted after 7 laps. Those tyres were gone. And we still do... Okay, when we have running... Oh, as Matty Rudd goes a bit wide there. But we still will have at least 6-ish laps. 7 maybe, potentially, when we get going. But I just pray we do not get a really late safety car call as we did there. I think this was even later than last night's
yes,
Tier 1.
it was much later. And
much later.
As far as I'm aware, generally speaking in F1 rules, the safety car should be called in at the latest at the end of the second sector. Maybe a little bit after if there's enough distance, but yeah, that got called in very, very late. The question is, what does Julian Manu do here? 6-lap-old Hart. Whilst the Hart is a good tyre for racing, it's still not going to look very pretty come the end of this race when it's got sort of 10-12 racing laps on them.
They'll suffer in this stage, obviously. Well, they won't suffer themselves, but they'll suffer in terms of pace compared to Berra on the new mediums, obviously. But the more this will go on, the more it'll somewhat come back in Julian Manu's hands compared to Berra, because we only saw 7 laps of running on Hulkenberger earlier on. Those tyres looked absolutely dead. No traction, barely any turning, and we saw Iron get completely on the rear wing of that Alpine. So I think in Julian Manu's mind is try and keep him up as much as you can, and hope those mediums fade off towards the later stages of this race.
So Stephen comes into the pits. So he now drops to the back. Others move up. And here we have interesting news from the pit lane. Apparently the guy who readied up early was the one and only director of IRL, MIKEY RK13.
Oh, so no time penalty there, maybe, or
I think
it depends how it works.
I believe he will probably at the minimum get a slap on the wrist, possibly a bit of a penalty for himself there. But obviously, we all know no one means to do it, but it happens, and yeah, not ideal if you're the director and you're doing it. To be fair.
Well, unfortunately, MIKEY, if a penalty comes his way, he will not be able to serve it under this circumstance because
yeah, I think he'll get carried to the next one.
Yeah, so essentially that will get carried over into Imola, I believe.
Not sure if it might be a reprimand on your first. First instance.
It depends on its first instance. It's early on in the season. Let's just be a bit generous. We don't want to see decisions taken over into following Grand Prix. But no, we're going to have a second safety car restart here, Jordan. So you can just see Berra really closing up on that Mercedes. He's making him sure that he's in the wing mirrors of Julian Manu. As I hope we get a safety car announcement if we are to get it now, because all the cars are pretty much bunched up.
And you can see Julian Manu here. He's immediately backed off. Yeah, and that's good driving from Julian Manu. He backed off quite early through sector 2 to allow a lot of space to the safety car, so now he can get that gap. Before we go racing, Simon Rudd saying hopefully the stewards will act accordingly, with a bit of a funny face, so we'll see what happens. But Julian Manu,
it's a bit slowed down there, yeah.
I think he went to go and the game cut his throttle.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It's again. I still feel it's way too late, this call-in system, but
oh my
word. We get cleanly. A bunch of cars going off into turn 1. Luckily, I don't know how, we're still going. Oh, Sir Spud. And there's actually a car off. Is that Berra? That is Berra. Berra is at the bottom of the field. What's happened there?
What has happened to Berra? We didn't see it, but something's happened to Berra. And I think Julian Manu, because Julian Manu's gone back down the field, and I think I saw him in the wall. I don't know if there was a move from Berra there late on. In that corner, it was like it was okay to begin with, but Berra and Julian Manu looking like they've come together, and it's allowed Iron to get into the lead. And Lionel Griesby looking to fight with Hulkenberger. This is for a podium for the Ferrari driver who's on a controller.
Absolutely brilliant move around the outside there, holding it through there. But this is what I mean, the race is never over until it's over. So for the likes of Berra and Julian Manu, it's absolute heartbreak to be, but they're lucky they're still in this race. But
well, that's close. Matty Rudd now looking to the outside, to the inside of Schumacher's at turn 22.
Side by side.
Good driving from the pair of them. It's clean, but it's slow as they come out of that corner. That's an Alpine in the wall. That is J-Ray Bay in the wall as Kim and Coke went side by side. Matty Rudd looking to make a move now on Darrell. Remember, no DRS yet, and they won't get it until after turn 16 on the next lap. So obviously Matty Rudd looking to make this move. Oh, and there's collision between Coke and J-Ray. J-Ray in the wall. The McLaren of Ira has been caught up in that, and it's absolute chaos on the restart. Julian Manu going past Ira now down the main straight, trying to keep an eye on all the gaps to see what's going on. And Julian Manu almost down the inside of Berra there. Maybe a touch of contact, but not enough to cause any issues. But back further up, Matty Rudd still behind Darrell by 0.8 of a second. Stephen going round the outside of Ira's lost an M plate, so he's not going to have much grip. Lionel Griesby has now lost back out to Hulkenberger, so Hulkenberger back up into the podium positions as Darrell runs a bit wide. Has Matty got any damage here? Because he's not really done much as Berra now gets past Sir Spud. Berra looking to re-overtake people, but he's going to now start pushing those mediums, and he's going to put some nice wear on them come the end of this race.
No, absolutely, but the fight is not done there. We have a fight for the lead of the race, and we have a fight nearly for the final position on the podium. DXC Matty is within DRS and crucially under 7 tenths. So the McLaren has every chance here to try and take victory, but Iron is not going to give this one up here.
Yeah, Matty then through up towards turn 27 they go. He's just looking to close this gap right now. Line Grisby not in DRS range for the second DRS zone, but may well still be in it for down the main straight. Daryl in 5th, Matty Rudd 6th. Now I think Matty Rudd now starting to just bide his time a little bit with the likes of Daryl, Line and Grisby, knowing they're on the mediums and that the race should come to him come the end of this race. But he's got to be a bit careful. He doesn't want to leave too much sort of errors. Here comes Berra down the inside. Look like Matty. Oh, Matty's actually got damage front left wing. He's lost a front end fence, so that's not ideal for Matty. That would probably be where his pace is dropped.
Yeah, no, Matty Rudd did show some brilliant overtakes so far in this race, so bit of a shame now this later stage he has that damage. Obviously not going to come in, surely, if the damage is not substantial enough. Berra obviously getting through. This is important now for Berra. This is somewhat of a recovery drive to try and get as high up as he can. But keeping out at the front of the field, 5/10, the gap between Iron and DXT Matty. This is going to go down to the wire, you'd imagine.
Yeah, it's now half a second as we come towards the next DRS zone. This is going to drop, and Matty has a decision to make. Does he overtake in the second DRS zone, or does he just bide his time and go down the main straight? We've seen he's down the main straight, but not all the time.
It depends if he's got the pace. If you've got the slipstream behind you, and it's very powerful here. It depends if he's got the pace, but he obviously stays behind here into the final corner. But he doesn't want to wait too long, because staying in that dirty air does hurt your tyres a lot more. The clean air, important, but he gets the DRS now down the main straight, just seeming a bit too far back as the Mercedes recharges, and I imagine so does Matty.
Meanwhile, Berra will probably look to the inside of Daryl. Does look down the inside of Daryl, gets down the inside of Daryl, but Daryl, yeah, he's going to see that place, and Matty Rudd now going backwards, overtaken by O'Stephen. But again, we could see that Williams come back up the order as the race tells the end, but he's going to have a bit of a hard time with that front wing damage. Meanwhile, 3/10 is the gap at the front. Lap 22 of 25, we have just 3.5 laps remaining, and Matty looking for his first win and podium of the season, as is Iron. So this is going to be a very fierce battle.
These are important points to pick off the pieces here, but you'd imagine now Matty is really trying to get, he's even close in the dirty air through, you know, the likes of turn 6, 7 and 8, but he just drops a bit through there. But you know, 3 laps to go. This is going to be a bit of mind games. Who's going to go first? Is Matty going to go early enough? Is he going to go on the very last lap? You don't want to leave it too late, obviously, because if Iron's got enough battery to hold that McLaren behind, it's all, you know, mind games through here. But I imagine, hopefully, Matty wants to get that position.
They're around the outside of Lion of Greasby. Not through yet, but he will be through now after getting the traction out of the corner. And he gets DRS as well for good measure to pull away. So back up to 4th for the Sauber after the earlier restart incident. And O'Stephen gets past Daryl. So O'Stephen finding some good pace in that kick Sauber.
Yeah, no, clearly O'Stephen feeling a lot more comfortable under less fuel.
I would also say Daryl does have front wing damage as well, so that's going to be helping O'Stephen there.
Ah, right, yeah, so that's obviously going to, yeah. Spud picks up a penalty. There's a yellow flag. I think that's
for Coke, who's gone round again. He's having a torrid time at the moment in the Red Bull. Yeah, not ideal for Coke. He's shown some great pace, but just the car just looks undrivable, and you might have a car. It's almost like those time trial setups. It's a rapid car, but it's built so much on the edge that the mistakes are almost inevitable to come, as Matty closes in 4/10 and closing.
Yeah, no, he's closer than ever through this portion of the track now, but obviously that comes with a bit of effect of dirty air, but he's still really close, only 4/10, 5/10 even. That rear wing opening now, you can see Iron trying everything he can with the ERS as Matty just a bit too far back through the final corner, but I don't think he necessarily wants to make that move that early on now. This is the closest Matty has been to that Mercedes as we get the retirement from Coke. Hopefully our final retirement, as we have 2 laps to go now. Matty closing in, but not close enough into the first corner. This is really going to go down to the wire here.
Absolutely. One thing I don't enjoy as well is when someone retires in the pits, it throws a yellow flag on the main straight. It's like they're in the pits. Don't throw yellows, because it can really mess up the racing, especially here when you got that first turn. It's a massive overtaking opportunity. But we carry on through the S's here of sector number 1. And Matty just getting that a little bit wrong, a little bit wide, loses a touch of time. But luckily he's still well within range. And Hulkenberger, he's not gone away here as Hulkenberger. He's actually started closing the gap.
Yeah, so is this maybe Matty trying to hold as Hulkenberger gets a nice little power slide through there? But yeah, maybe Matty holding back too much in the regards that Hulkenberger is now closing up. It might be a bit too much to ask for Hulkenberger to try and get in this fight, but if anything gets a bit sideways between the two of them up front, you never know what can happen. It can go down to the checkered flaggers now. Matty again even closer through the hotel section, but you can see the dirty air throwing him offline, and that's pulled him back quite a bit here. But his chances are not over yet. He's still got that DRS to play with.
Down to the final corner for Matty. Everyone else, I mean, Darrell's on the back of O'Stephen, but this is the more important battle right now. As I think Iron had a bad exit out of the final corner. This could be a big opportunity here for Matty. Can he take it down towards turn number 1? It looks like Iron maybe just got back on the batteries to help him stabilise that gap. Final lap then here in Saudi Arabia, and this battle is going to go all the way to turn 27 and possibly a drag race to the line.
Yeah, and now this is the moment. Now there's no point on saving that battery after the final corner. You've got to dump it all. So whatever battery games they're playing, now's the time to use everything they've got in their disposal. As Matty and Iron recharging through those S sections. They know they're not going to have a likely overtake through there as long as nothing goes wrong. But you can see them both trying to recharge it. So who will have the better deployment? Who will have the better straight line speed? As you can see, Hulkenberg is still keeping up. He's in the 1.1s, but it's just not a bit close enough. But hence, if there were more laps, this could have brought him into this fight. But you can see now the rear of Iron sliding through there. That's really going to hurt now. Under 2.5 tenths. Matty has that DRS, but is not going to be able to go for the move here. Is he going to go for it? He's having a little look, but it's not enough. But remember what happened last lap. You see it there. The McLaren goes so offline because of that dirty air. And that's managed to let Iron go over 7 tenths.
I think that's going to be it. That's too much now for Matty. Matty looked to sort of make Iron make a mistake. I think he should have been more concerned about just maybe braking a bit earlier, getting the front end tucked in to get a better run out. But I think because of that mistake, Iron's going to run unchallenged. It is Iron F1 who wins here in Saudi Arabia from DXT Matty. Hulkenberger in third, and a fantastic finish. Less than 1.5 seconds covering the top 3. Barrett, a good return drive from the restart line. Griesby gets 5th place. A fantastic drive from him. As though Stephen. Matty Rudd will pick up 7th place with Juliano Manu in 8th. Darrell will be 9th after penalties. Sir Spud, a good race from him in 10th. Obviously caught up in a few accidents, but he continued on, picks up some points. Ira comes home in 11th, and J. Ray Bay again. It's an unfortunate race for the Alpine driver, but he stayed in, as we say time and time again, he's stayed in this race, and he's getting rewarded with at least that one championship point.
You never know, come the end of the final round, that 1 point could play massively into your championship. But he's stuck with it and he's crossed the line, and fair respect to J-Ray finishing the race.
So the end of the race, and it is Iron F1 who takes that win. What a battle at the final stages of that race, and Mercedes now going to be topping of the constructors' standings, I believe, with this result. Yeah, and we're going to have a hell of a battle between the Mercedes and the Alpines this season in the constructors.
Yeah, no, it didn't go fully the way of the Alpine, obviously, with J-Ray, and of course, I had Hulkenberger up there in P2 for a while. But don't count out the Kick Saubers. They had a good race of Stephen climbing up at the end there. Obviously, unfortunate for Berra to have that incident with Juliana Manu, but of course, Stuart's reports, we need to see what happened between the two of them after the race.
Yeah, do you want to take us quickly through the provisional results?
Yeah, so obviously I run followed by Matty with Hulkenberger on the podium. Berra drops to P4 with Lion of Greasby into the top 5. Following that is O'Stephen with Matty Rudd with Juliana Manu in P8. Darrell with Sir Spud for P10 with Ira and J Rabe finishing the finishing order. And the retirees go as far as Coke, Mikey and Trist Games.
Yeah, unfortunately,
So,
Tris Games confirming he was a little bit too quick into that final corner. Mikey had a bad day at the office for him. Just didn't really look. He gelled fully with this circuit in the car. And obviously, Coke, as we know, very probably unpopular man for the day. Getting caught up in a fair few incidents. But Spud saying he is so angry. I'm not surprised at getting caught up in the incidents. Obviously, drivers are reminded that for their stewards' inquiries, they don't open until 8 a.m. tomorrow. See everyone just cool down a little bit and then go again tomorrow. But yeah, what? We couldn't have asked for a better final sort of 5-6 laps there.
Yeah, no, it was really going down to the wire. You had no idea who would have it. But I think the most important thing is it really did show the effects of F125 now with that dirty air. You saw how that McLaren just follows out off the likes of Iron through there. But that's part of the racing, and no, still great racing, great action all around. You missed so much with all the battles going on from the very front of the field to the very back. So no, great stuff from the drivers tonight.
Yeah, and long may it continue, because if the rest of the season is like this, we are in for an absolute barnstorming season, and it's going to be a fantastic one to watch all the way. In terms of said season, obviously next time out we head to Imola, which is a fan favourite circuit. Obviously not the easiest to overtake on, but always a fan favourite and can make for some interesting sim racing for sure. But it's also a sprint evening, which just adds that little extra element to it.
Yeah, no, as well, it is the first sprint of the season as well, so that'll be interesting how the drivers come into it, knowing that they use that likely extra medium that they would use in the race, but obviously that gets utilised in the sprint. So tyre allocations will be different in the main end sprint, so it just adds a little bit of uncertainty on that factor. So definitely as well, a great historic track, plenty of action. Regardless, overtaking is difficult. It'll always be a thrill to watch, regardless.
Exactly, and obviously for anyone who has seen the F1 2026 calendar, it's not on that calendar, which I think is a little bit unfortunate for that, and it got replaced by Madrid. I'm not sure I'm all in favour of that swap, but I'm not in charge of the F1 calendar.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think they should let us have a crack at designing the calendar. I think that'd be a good idea. But yeah, no. I think they should give us a shot.
So I think we bring back a lot of classics. I mean, Sepang and Istanbul are two straight away I can think of.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But anyway, from away from our F1 calendar planning session, as we're at the end of the evening. Tier 2, that is the end for tonight. Obviously a fantastic effort by all the podium runners. Obviously I run DXT Matty and Hulkenberger. Fantastic battle at the end to watch. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, please leave a like on the stream, and if you want to watch even more of that type of action, do subscribe to the Invictus Racing League YouTube channel, where all of the races this season are going to be streamed with commentary live. Myself and ARL on Tier 2 all season long. It's going to be an absolute belter, and obviously Tier 1, you get the return of Jack next week on commentary there with Mikey for their race on Monday. So do join us next week for Imola. But yeah, make sure you subscribe, put the notifications on so you get the notification come through when we do go live for the racing, so you never miss a lap of action. But for myself and ARL, thank you very much for watching tonight. Hopefully you've enjoyed a spectacle here at Jeddah, and we'll see you next Tuesday for Tier 2's round number 3, sprint evening at Imola.